is Mary Westfall-Holbrook, and I'm the Chief District Engineer for District 12 in Pikeville. Our area covers all the way from Lawrence County, Johnson County, Martin County, Knott County, Pike, Letcher, and Floyd. So we have a big area, and we're just really excited to be here with you all today. We're going to start today's event with prayer and presentation of the colors. So I'd like to ask Jeremy Lemaster to come up, please. Thank you.
All right. If y'all bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together today to honor these 6 men, Lord, these brothers who served our country valiantly, Lord. We thank you for all of the families that are represented here today, Lord, and for all of their offspring, and for the many blessings that you've given us all, Father. We just ask, Lord, that you continue to bless us. We thank you for all those men and women who are still serving our country today, and for all those veterans here who sacrifice part of themselves to give us all freedom, Lord. We thank you so much for all those blessings. We ask, Lord, that you continue to bless our nation, Lord. Bless those leaders here today, Lord, as they attempt to make decisions, Lord, and let them do those based on your will, Father. Thank you for all that you do for us. And most of all, thank you for your Son, Jesus, who died for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Order. Orders. Post. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Preece. Orders.
Thank you. Please remain standing as Lonnie Fox, great-granddaughter of Haskell Ellen Preece Spurlock, a sister of the 6 brothers that we're honoring today.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, send us that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
At Highway District 12, in addition to the maintenance, road construction, and bridges that we work on, we also host ceremonies like this. And the ceremonies generally are a result of a member of the General Assembly sponsors a resolution to name a state road or a bridge in someone's honor. This year, State Representative Kathy Hinkle sponsored the resolution to name Kentucky 2565 in memory of 6 Lawrence County men, brothers, all of whom served in World War II. Please welcome Representative Hinkle.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you who took time out of your day to come stand with us in recognition and honor of these brave men who courageously served in their country. This is an honor for me to be part of this recognition of this precious family. We come together to express our profound gratitude for the sacrifices and contributions the Preece brothers and their families made on the World War II battlefield, at home and at outposts around the world. But America's gratitude to this family is something always grounded in something greater than what we did on their duty. It's also an appreciation of the example that they continue to set after their service has ended, their example as citizens. Today, we acknowledge humbly that we can never serve this family in quite the same that they served us. But we can serve and we can honor. We can keep practices of kindness and we can pay it forward. We can volunteer and we can respect one another. We can always get each other's backs. These 6 brothers leave a legacy that has been equaled by very few families in our area and needs to be honored forever. With the dedication of this road, may it serve as a testament to the sacrifice that was made by each for the good of each of us. I am truly honored to have this opportunity to take part in it. Thank you, and may God bless each of you.
Thank you, Representative Hinkle. State Senator Philip Wheeler was elected to represent the people of Lawrence County during the special election in March of this year. An attorney with the law firm of Kirk Law, Mr. Wheeler lives in Pike County, but he represents a large area, including Lawrence. Please welcome your state senator, Philip Wheeler.
I want to thank each and every one of you all, especially the Preece family, for giving me the honor of coming out to address you all here today. I'd like to just take a moment to recognize not only the service of the Preece family, but if there are any other veterans here amongst us, if you could please stand so that we can recognize and honor you as well. Thank you. We are humbled by your sacrifices and your service to this country as we are by the Preece brothers. And we know that those sacrifices were great and that you have served our country with dignity and honor like those that came before us. I'm proud here. I don't know the family personally, but I have read the biography about William, Hiram, Haskell, Rudolph, and James, all brave Eastern Kentuckians who fought to save the world from perhaps the greatest evil that we have never known, the greatest threat to our Western and Christian civilization that America has seen. I understand 3 of the brothers served in the U.S. Army and 3 in the Navy, and that James not only was a World War II vet, but also served and gave his life fighting against the forces of communism in Korea. That is a point that is especially meaningful to me in that my father-in-law, Thomas Edwin, was also a Korean veteran, and it's often called America's Forgotten War. And I'm so happy that James Preece, in the naming of this highway, will get the honor that he so richly deserves and will be forgotten no more. I think that's very important. The United States has been able to depend on young men throughout its history, especially the brave young men and women of places like Eastern Kentucky and other rural areas of our nation who have proudly stepped up to the plate to fight for freedom, not only for our own country, but for other countries around the world. This is especially true of World War II, which was the largest single event, catastrophic event in human history. Of According to Tom Brokaw, in his book, The Greatest Generation, the Second World War was fought across 6 continents and all its oceans. It killed more than 50 million human beings and left hundreds of millions of others wounded in both mind and body, and materially devastated much of our great civilization. Throughout our nation's history, more than 1.1 million men and women have died in wartime throughout the span of our history. To put it in perspective, that's more than the populations of San Francisco, Boston, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. combined. More people were killed in World War II alone than currently live in the city of New Orleans. And this doesn't begin to take into account the wounded, the people that were left behind, and that number would go closer to 2.8 million, more than the city of Chicago. Those numbers should truly humble us. These represent people. The Preece brothers had family here. They were loved by their mother. I can only imagine what it was like. I can't even begin to comprehend what this mother felt when she saw 6 of her 7 sons leave to go off to war, not knowing whether she would ever see them again. I mean, can you imagine that? As a father myself, it's a feeling that I just can't understand. But these 6 sons were sent off to fight on foreign shores. I think, 3 to Europe and 3 into the Pacific, I think I understand. You know, that mother would hug them. She'd tell them she loved them, but she didn't know whether she would ever see them again. And yet, you know, they came home before James once again volunteered and stepped up to serve his country and paid the ultimate sacrifice. The reality by the Preece family was a reality seen by many Americans at that time, many families in the greatest generation, and it continues to be a stark reality for many families who continue to serve to this day. I want to, not only as Representative Hinkle said, thank them not only for their service in the past, but thank them again for the example that they've set for our generations in the future. Too often our young people are not taught the values of patriotism, honor, and sacrifice, and yet the Preece brothers set living examples of these things. Not only did they set living examples for themselves, they also set living examples for their children. As I understand, the son of William Preece that's here today was also a veteran, and we thank you for your service, sir. But again, I'm so honored and humbled to be here today, and I want to thank you all for the privilege of being able to speak by such brave families, brave individuals, and I hope that this naming of this road will recall their service for future generations to come and set an example for our young generations in Lawrence County from now on into the future. So thank you very much for having me here today.
Thank you, Senator Wheeler. I'd like to welcome back up Lonnie Fox to come and sing God Bless the USA.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I had worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their right to me. And I'll proudly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their right to me. And I'll proudly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Would everybody come in on the next verse? It's the same chorus. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their right to me. And I'll proudly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA.
First, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Most of this is coming off the top of my head and from my heart, so you're probably going to see some tears. The story started in the head of Coldwater in Martin County. Henry Garfield, our grandpa, and Ada Davis Preece, our grandma, had 12 children, 8 sons and 4 daughters. Started out 1907, William Henry. I was around pretty close to this guy. I never heard him called William. To my 2 sisters and I, he was Dad. To nieces and nephews, he was Uncle Bill. In 1909, Hiram and Zeph came along. To the 6 sons, he was Dad. And to his nieces and nephews, he was Uncle Zeph. 1910, Haskell. He was the father to a son and a daughter. To the rest of us, Uncle Hack. 1911, Homer. Homer only lived 8 months old. He passed away. 1914, the 5th child, finally a baby girl. Aunt May, she had 3 sons, 2 daughters, and we just called her Aunt May. The 6th child, born in 1916, was Everett Offutt. He was actually the 2nd son who grew to manhood, and he was unable to serve due to medical reasons. And I'm sure that was very tough on him, having 6 brothers in and not being able to serve. 1918, Beulah Emma Preece Sims. She didn't have any children, but we knew her as Aunt Em. 1921, the 8th child, Edwin Morgan. To 1 son and 3 daughters, he was her dad. To us, he was Uncle Ed. At that point in time, they moved from Martin County to Lawrence County. I think in 22. So in 23, Rudolph Grant was born. He didn't have any children, although he had 3 stepchildren, and he was just Rudy. 1925, Essie Ellen was born. She had 2 daughters. To us, she was Aunt Ellen. 1927, James Thomas. He didn't have any children, and to us, he was Uncle Jim. Finally, the 12th child. 1931, Mary Elizabeth. 2 sons, 3 daughters, and most of us, she was just Beth or Aunt Beth. My grandma and grandpa had 28 grandchildren, 3 step-grandchildren. Unfortunately, Grandma only got to see 1 grandchild, That was Frank Sturgill Jr. She passed away in 1937 at the age of 55, and she didn't have to see these sons go off to war, which may have been a blessing in disguise, but we missed ever getting to know her, and she missed, after bearing 12 children, the enjoyment of 28 grandchildren, 31 grandchildren, and being a grandparent, we know how great the grandkids are. I made a few notes because coming off the top of my head would really be scary. During World War II, nearly all able-bodied men, I've been told, were called to serve. And it wasn't a time of age discrimination. My dad was called into the Navy when he was 35. There was already 4 brothers in. Uncle Jim turned 17, and I think it was just a few days, 17 in a few days, my grandfather signed for him to join the Navy. And I don't know how, you have 5 sons that are already signed for a 17-year-old kid to go into the Navy. But I'm sure he was pretty persistent in following his brother's footsteps. God had to be watching over these 6 sons because they all returned. Our Uncle Ed was in a Jeep and ran over a landmine. The driver was killed, and he had a leg amputated above the knee. When Korea broke out, Uncle Jim went back into the service, only this time into the Army. He joined the Army on March 24th and was married in May and was killed on September the 5th, 1950. He'd only been married like 4 months before he was killed. He was married to Irene McCarg of Cincinnati, and thankfully, a couple of years before she died, she gave his flag, his discharge, and his Purple Heart to my cousin Brenda, who lived in Cincinnati. I didn't know it until I got some information from her just a few weeks ago, but he was buried in a United Nations cemetery in Busan, Korea. And I didn't know until later than that. I was talking to my cousin Hiram in Michigan, and he said, well, I've got some information on him. He mailed it to me. And it wasn't returned to his wife for burial until October 1951, 13 months later. He came by ship to San Francisco, was transported to New York, and the family had requested our Uncle Rudy, his brother, to escort the body back home, and he was given permission to do that. My little granddaughter talking to me. And Brenda told me when Irene had given her his papers and such, she also told Brenda that although she had remarried, that she had always kept a picture of my Uncle Jim hanging in her home. And it's a picture that's up here if you all want to look at it later. So I guess her husband must have been pretty understanding, but under the conditions I could understand that. After 65 years, as you get older, things like this become more important to you. I'd always wanted to visit his grave. And about 4 years ago, my wife and I were up in northern Kentucky and had a little bit of free time. So I called Brenda to get the name of the cemetery, which is Spring Grove. Thanks to GPS, we were able to find the cemetery. And as you go in, there's a building there where you can stop, and they'll give you a map showing you to the grave. You need the map because it's a large, older cemetery, but very well kept, beautiful trees on it. And I was able to find Uncle Jim's grave. As I look down on the military marker, it's pretty touching. After all that time to finally be able to visit it. The Preece Brothers, when they moved to Orange County, lived on Route 23, actually about a quarter mile from where 2565 runs into Route 23. So these markers are going to be about a quarter mile from their home place. Their home place is mile marker 14 south, and their home is over on the right side of the road as you're going south, big two-story building. It's no longer there. But on the hill above where their house was is the Preece Memorial Cemetery. 5 of these brothers are buried there on the hill, and of course Uncle Jim in Cincinnati. For the young people, and to me, there's a lot of young people out here, but especially the next generation and the generation our kids, our grandkids, and the younger ones down the line, you should always be proud of these men. And as you get older, you'll start to wonder about your ancestors. It's something that comes with age. But you should learn about the history of your family while there's people around that you can ask about it. The matriarch, Eileen Thompson, back there has a lot of answers to our question. But as you get older, you just want to know more about your family and what went on with them. I want to thank, we've got a second cousin here from Martin County, Kaylee Ward, and her husband Sonny, Uncle Ben's granddaughter. I appreciate her being here. And we have a special cousin who walked in, and if I wasn't tore up enough, and she walked in, I hadn't known her. I knew her mom, but she come in and introduced herself and asked for Eileen and Brenda, who her mom knew pretty well. And I'm not going to call her by name, but I appreciate her being here, and that was a wonderful surprise. I want to thank some people. I come up with this probably 8 years ago, and I don't get things done too quick. I talked to Rocky about it, and he said, well, give me the for discharge, and I'll take care of it. So this came back up probably less than a year ago. I want to thank Brenda, Hiram Preece Jr. We knew him as Junior, but now it's Hiram. He said, I don't answer to Junior anymore. And also my sister Mary Walker and my brother-in-law Kenneth Thompson for getting the discharge together. I didn't do that. I put things off, so I thank them. And at this time, a new representative had gone in, so I dropped this on her right off the bat. So I want to thank Kathy Hinkle. I very much appreciate this, and you don't know how much, so thank you. I want to thank folks from Pikeville for being here in the NC. I thought when this proclamation went through, they would come out and put up a couple of signs, but Todd Moran, State Road Department in Orange County, and give me a number to call, and I called, and it was Sarah George. And this was the nicest lady. She informed me we put on a nice service for this. And everything I asked her was, whatever you want, whatever your family wants, wherever y'all want to work with. And there was a lot of communication back and forth between her. She said, do you want, asked about getting a list of our ancestors. Well, we started getting that together. My wife was putting on a computer and back and forth. We went, she wanted in by the 3rd. We took it up to her on the 2nd, and then made changes, of course. But I very much appreciate working with her and your group putting this together. She asked me if somebody from the family wanted to speak. Well, I could probably pick a better speaker, but I said, yeah, I'll do it. Being the oldest priest by name, and the oldest, 3rd oldest grandchild at this point in time, I probably knew the guys better than maybe some of them I lived around here where most of them were. Where was I? anyway, I want to thank, she asked about the color guard, and I instantly thought about Orange County Junior ROTC because I'd seen them at football games, basketball, and appreciated the precision with which they did the colors with. So I went and talked to Sergeant Turner, and he's very happy to accommodate. And what makes it really unique is they're all young ladies, and they do a great job. A few weeks ago, they presented the colors of the Cincinnati Reds game, which is pretty cool. I want to thank the VFW and the American Legion. I don't have the commanders' names, I probably do, but they're in the program. I want to thank you gentlemen for being here today. I guess there's one other person I probably should thank. Let me see if I forgot anyone. If I have, I apologize. I want to thank my secretary, which is a non-paid position. She put in a lot of time on the computer, emailing, texting, and whatever, and she was more insistent on trying to get the descendants' names right than what I was. I got by with it, but she put all the time in, so thank you to my wife, Tony. I'd like to mention a couple of things. First off, 6 came up again later with the Preece brothers. Uncle Zeph had 6 sons who served in the military, not all at the same time, but Arnold, the oldest one, served a tour in Vietnam. Our cousin Ted Preece's son, and this would be Uncle Hack's grandson, Jonathan Stephen Preece, served a term in Desert Storm, and Jeremy Lemaster, great-grandson of William Preece, served a term in Afghanistan. So the service by the Preece descendants has gone on. One other thing, this doesn't have to do with serving in the military, but I thought it was pretty quirky. 2 generations from the Preece leaving the head of Coldwater in Martin County, Uncle Hack's grandson, Gregory Nicholas Preece, he's the city manager of Oakland, California. That's pretty crazy, 2 generations later. This guy gone from Coldwater to Oakland, California. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I want to thank all my relatives for being here, and I want to thank several county officials, Mayor of Louisa, and just everyone for being here. If you're a descendant of Henry and Ada Preece, would you please stand? Come on, you guys in front. Come on. There you go. A lot of good-looking youngsters here. And 2 guys right here in the front keep Preece Cemetery mode for the most part. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. You can be seated. There's one other thing for the younger people and the people out of town. There's a monument down in front of the courthouse that lists all the Orange County service people who were killed in action or missing in action. If you've never seen it, you should stop by and see that. James T. Preece's name is on it. I thank everybody, and I appreciate you being here. Shauna and I, my oldest daughter, went to the cemetery last night right before dark, and I thought of it on the way up there. Why didn't somebody come up this years ago? Me, somebody. So when 5 of these brothers were still alive, that they could have seen this. But anyway, today it's going to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Preece. I'd like to ask Luke and Reese Trimble to William Henry Preece's great-grandchildren to please come and sing Some Gave It All.
New man called Sam came. Few folks even knew his name, but a hero, yes, was he. He left a boy, came back a man. Still me just don't understand about the reasons we are free. I can't forget the look in his eyes or the tears he cried as he said these words to me. All gave some, and some gave all. Some stood through for the red, white, and blue. Some had to fall. And if you ever think of me, think of all your liberties and recall. Some gave all. Sammy Kane is no longer here, but his words are oh so clear as they echo throughout the land. For all his friends who gave their all, stood the ground and took the fall to help a fellow man. Love your country, live with pride, don't forget those who died. America, can't you see? All gave some, and some gave all. Some stood through for the red, white, and blue. Some had to fall. And if you ever think of me, think of all your liberties and recall. Some gave all. And if you ever think of me, think of all your liberties and recall. Some gave all.
Thank you. As we get ready to conclude, I just wanted to take a real quick minute to thank the United Methodist Church, your pastor. Would you please stand? Let's give them a round of applause for what they did. Thank you for allowing us to use your facility. It's very, very lovely. Also, a couple other things. I want to thank everyone that was here, everyone that participated, but just as a KYT said, I'd like to thank the guys in yellow. If we could give them a round of applause. You see them on the road, but they like to come to these events and they help us set up. They'll be installing the sign in a little while on their way out of Lawrence County, but just always like to recognize them. Anytime you see them in the grocery store, just give them a thumbs up because they're hardworking and I appreciate you all. I also like to thank Sarah George. She's our public information officer, and she's the one that organized the event. I'd like to give her a round of applause. And the gentleman leaning against the wall there in the blue, he doesn't have yellow on. That's Greg Couch. He's our branch manager for support, and he does the music and the sound for us. Thank you, Greg. Now I'd like the family members to gather around the sign with myself and Representative Hinkle and Senator Wheeler as we unveil the sign. Now there'll be plenty of time afterwards to take all the pictures. We'll stay as long as you all want to take pictures, but we'll do one as we unveil, and then we'll do the 21 gun salute.
Mary, since about 75% of people in this room are related, I don't know if we can get them all up here at the same time. Let's look at you. Aren't you pretty? unveil the sign, before we start doing that, our American Legion and VFW are going to close our ceremony with the 21-gun salute and play taps. So I'm sure you'll be able to hear it from me here, but if you want to go outside, you can go ahead and do that as soon as we unveil the sign, right? Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.